Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all good. Do you remember 2 weeks ago I showed you a Halloween mould unboxing and I showed you this one? Well, I then found out that was actually a knockoff. That was a fake. Someone through Amazon had stolen the designs from this artist. This is Aleesha over at Aleecats. Luckily, one of you lovelies actually gave me her name and where to find her, so I headed straight on over to her Etsy, and when I tell you, the choice was real. There were pages and pages and pages of molds that I could choose from, and I bought this one. So cute. I actually didn't go and buy all of the designs that I had bought from the knockoff mold, but I did buy 2 absolutely gorgeous molds. The first one that you just saw were the bats, and the second one, these stunning miniature witches hats, which I just fell in love with the second I saw them. Of course, this is not sponsored. I did purchase them myself through her Etsy store, and I then followed her on Instagram. So go ahead and check her out. I am, of course, we have to, don't we? I'm going to be using the chameleon flakes. Now, I thought about using the chameleon powders, but I feel like I've used them way a lot, like way too much. So I decided to try out the flakes. I haven't used these since last year's Christmas. And these are the Chameleon Flakes by Let's Resin. So of course your 10% discount will be in the description box if you like the look of these flakes. I did choose 2 of like the most Halloweeny Halloween colours. I figured it was like the blues, the greens, the purples that would really work. So the bats, oh, they're ridiculously cute. The bats are going to get the lime green Chameleon Flakes. Now the difference between Chameleon Flakes and Chameleon powders, it is actually really huge. If any of you have used both, you will already know the difference. The powder goes on like a dream, whereas the flakes, you need a lot more flakes to actually get the coverage. They don't spread as easily. They definitely give more of a metallic finish than the powders do. And also you can add powder into resin, but adding the flakes into resin does not create the same dramatic wow. So all I am doing is using a soft makeup brush to brush these chameleon flakes all over this stunning mold. Now the thing is with the flakes as well, you would seen in previous videos, if you've used them you know they're static. They are so static. It's like by the time you've even introduced them to the silicone, they're flying off in all directions. But look at this, so cute, so cute. And yes, I did a Toonpish Crafts and as I went to open this pot, because clearly I'd not used it yet, it still had the cellophane thing over the top. As I went to open it, it popped and oh gosh, did it go everywhere. So yeah, that's just me reenacting a Wendy from Toonpish Crafts moment. Anyway, we're moving on. I'm going to be using Vista Turbo Resin. If you know me, if you've been with me a while, you'll know, oh, this is my go-to resin for quick crafts like this because it's such a fast curing resin. I know I can demold these after 5 hours, which is bliss. I added in my Vista black liquid pigment. Now I am a Vista ambassador as well, and if you would like to quadruple your miles with Vista when you put an order in, the details will be down below in the description box. And after mixing my resin part AB together, mixing in the black and mixing thoroughly, I'm pouring it in. I am pouring quite slowly because the embossed details in these molds are beautiful. They are definitely, they're not so deep, so you don't necessarily have to fill these afterwards. You can get some molds that have got quite deep embossed detail, then you can fill them with acrylic paint or do whatever it is you're going to do, or you can leave them. These details are like a mixture of, I can't explain it, they're almost like a mixture of textured surface. There's also a mixture of matte areas. So if I wasn't using chameleon flakes in these and I just poured resin straight into the mold, I would get areas of matte and gloss reflection. Hope I'm making sense. But first, to demold are these bats. I'm sorry, how cute are these bats? Aleesha also does have the upside down hanging bats on her Etsy store, but at the time 2 molds was all my budget would allow, I'm afraid. But I will be definitely going back and checking more of her things out because it's just cuteness overload, absolute cuteness overload. These have come out super gorgeous. The one on the right seems to have some kind of orange in there, like I don't know if maybe another color got in there somehow, but yeah, there's a little speck of orange. But I'm loving the blue tones and the green tones in those bats, and the hats, Oh my gosh. This is like a chameleon blue stroke purple stroke magenta. Really, really lovely. This is the violet colour. Now, this is where I was showing you, see the band around the hat? That's kind of like an etched out, scratched out detail. And I thought they'd look really good with the acrylic paint infill. Now, again, this is optional. You don't have to do this. I decided to use silver acrylic. Now, in hindsight, if I was to do this again, I would probably use white acrylic, only because the silver didn't do what I wanted it to do, and actually it looks like white. So I think if I were to do this again, I would use a really beautiful crisp white acrylic paint. I think it would probably pop a little bit more than the acrylic paint does. Now, when you're doing things like this, you've got so many options. You can brush it all into all the nooks and crannies like you see me doing here with a paintbrush. Then you can get a wet wipe and rub it off. But because I'm Claire's lazy corner, I'm just going to use my hands. It's not toxic paint, it's just acrylic craft cheap paint. I know it's not going to hurt me. One rub of the back of my hand and it got all the paint off, and then you can just go in with a wet wipe afterwards to clean up any surfaces or clean up any corners that maybe have a little bit of paint stuck. But yeah, one quick wipe of the hand and it did the job. As for the bats, I'm going to leave them. I'm going to leave them as is. I was thinking about using a black acrylic paint in the nooks and crannies, in the embossed details, but it pretty much already looks dark, so it does the job, and I'm really, really happy. Now, honestly, if you were going to go on and sell these, if you're a business and you wanted to make these for yourselves, I would go ahead and top coat. I would actually just go that further step and give them a top coat just to make them pop and make them wow. But because I'm not a business and I'm not going to any craft fair anytime soon, I'm going to be wearing these myself. I'm not going to top coat because I think they're perfectly fine as is. The acrylic paint will dry, and honestly, unless you actually physically take them in your hand and use something to scratch the surface, there's really no risk of them scratching at all. So I'm going to be using some jump rings and of course my pliers to attach everything together. The witches' hats I decided would make perfect earrings. Now, they'd both make great earrings, by the way. I think a lot of Aleesha's moulds are super miniature, absolutely perfect for earrings or necklaces, pendants, key rings and things like that. So they're all pretty much within that realm, but she does have some huge moulds as well. The witches' hats, because they've got this teeny tiny little loop at the top, I thought they would be gorgeous for 2022's Halloween earrings for myself. So I decided to create earrings using these. Now, the jump rings, that big tub of jump rings that you saw, I actually got that a couple of years back from BB Craft when I worked with BB Craft on a few projects. I feel like it's going to last me the rest of my life. I'm not even joking. If you've been following me a while, you'll know that I don't generally make earrings and things like that on my channel. I do make key rings. I do love a key ring, but these are gorgeous. Absolutely love them. I do have my ears pierced, but generally don't wear earrings. It's terrible. I've got loads too. As for the bats, the hole is huge. So even if you didn't want to add a jump ring like I am right now to add this big key ring on, these bats would actually fit directly on the keychains that you already have. You could just slip them straight in to one of your big round keychains because the hole is massive. And I absolutely love that about these. And yeah, but how cute are these as key rings? I love them so much. Like, I don't know, I'm not really a cutesy kind of person, but I'm in love with these. I'm absolutely in love with these. I generally don't do miniature cute things on my channel, but yes, I could spend all day every day creating things like this because I'm sorry, this bat needs a name. I don't even know if it's got a name. What should we name them? But here they are close up. I absolutely love. Let me know out of the two which one's your favourite. For me, it's the bats because that face, that little nose. Ooh. The hats are cute and the colour works so well. I think they obviously would work in black being witches' hats, but you know, we're not here to say what colour a witch's hat has to be. I think purple works equally well. I'm loving the colour shift on the bats because it goes from blue to green and I'm absolutely loving that. Let me know out of the two which one is your favourite and let me know if you are still here. I really appreciate you so much. I hope you love these as much as I loved creating them, and a massive thank you to the one person who told me that the mould I showed in my video was actually a rip-off from an original artist and introduced me to Aleesha over on Instagram. I'm going to put all of her details down below. Like I said, not sponsored guys, but I knew I had to do the right thing morally. I will not be using that knockoff rip-off mould that I got from Amazon, and I left them a stinking review to say that they had stolen these designs from an artist who had put all of their hard work and effort into creating these, and they just went ahead and stole them. And yeah, I think it's kind of wrong, you know, but you know, until you know, you don't know. Until I know, I don't know. So there is a chance that I have used molds in the past that were actually stolen. But guys, how do you know? So I'm really grateful to the person that did tell me about it and put me in touch with the original artist. And oh my gosh, I'm glad they did, because they've got like 50,000 things on their Etsy. It's like being in a restaurant with too much choice. It's damaging. I really appreciate you all. Thank you so much. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below, and do not forget to give me that big fat thumbs up. That really helps me out, and also subscribe if you have not already. You'll enjoy it here. I appreciate you all, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.